Okay, welcome back, Nick Lenz. This Comic Corner Classics, that's non-classics. This is episode number 1276 and Doubleshot number 1170. Like I mentioned in the last video, 2 Marvel trades, and I got these books just in today. First up, it is Hulkverines. Yep, the trade that collects the entire 3-issue miniseries. I kind of wish they would have spread out to one more, but 3 as is. Plus, they include Totally Awesome Hulk 22, which was basically Weapon H's first appearance. This miniseries simply picks up right where Weapon H leaves off, where Clay is off with his family. They finally show his kids for the first time. Plus, this book has the return of 2 really big characters, one of whom happens to be the freaking leader. Yep, the leader. Like, he does pop up in the pages of Immortal Hulk, which, by the way, this book takes place after Immortal Hulk number 7. Yep. Plus, you have return of Dr. Alba. Yes! Now, the last time she was seen was back in the pages of Weapon X, in the arc that came out right after Weapons of Mutant Destruction, which was the arc that was back their pilot to Weapon H. That's the simple gist of it. For that. But this book is simply this. Weapon H meets the original Hulk, Bruce Banner, and he meets Wolverine, the real Wolverine, not the old man from the future. Yeah, he meets him. And of course, it's written by Greg Pak, which is awesome. And the fact he throws some humor in here, which I found to be so hilarious. And he pokes fun at the Hulk-Wolverine rivalry. Yeah, Hulk is a rival to like several people. I mean, he's had fights with not only Wolverine, but also Thor and The Thing. Which, by the way, he had a rematch with The Thing in Fantastic Four, the current Fantastic Four issue 12. Yeah, now here's the thing. How he first meet these two guys is so hilarious. Like, apparently, he just meets Bruce Banner in the middle of the woods, and they basically like, hey, I know who you are. He basically explains about what happened before, so at least Bruce Banner is not an idiot. And it's a good thing Greg Pak has got history writing Bruce Banner, because after all, he did Planet Hulk and World War Hulk, so he at least has experience writing Bruce Banner. And in the case of Wolverine, I'm trying to think, like, prior to this miniseries, well, he did write him in the pages of Weapon X, but that was Old Man Logan. Present day Logan, I'm trying to think here. I think he may have written him in the pages of Storm when he wrote that series. But aside from that, I can't think of any other time he's actually has experience writing Wolverine. But he probably did this because he's a big fan of both characters. This is my theory about it. So they meet, they fight, and I love the fact when they have Logan and Bruce meet Clay's kids, and they both say, hey, my dad kicked you guys' butts. And Logan's like, yeah, he did. Which I found to be so hilarious. And plus, I love the hilarious scene when they go up basically the surface and they're, believe it or not, basically a SUV that's designed to be like the submarine car from A Spy Who Loved Me, but goes into the water and transforms into a submarine. I think it's, what was the name of that car they had from Spy Who Loved Me? I don't remember what it was, but it's just so hilarious. And basically, and they had this funny thing at the end of it, which we're talking about the story in minutes, where basically Logan asked Bruce Banner, when was the last time we had a beer? And he's like, not since we fought last. And he's like, okay, I'll take you a beer right now, which, okay, that was so funny. And the stuff over the leader in here is so good. Yeah. So, things starts off, now a whole point of this miniseries, basically, this continues from a plot thread from Weapon H, where Dago Agnew, aka the Minotaur, sent an agent for the federal government to see the leader, who's in prison. If you're curious to, like, how the heck this happened, did the Hulk put him here? No, I think this was something that She-Hulk did. So he goes visit, like, hey, we have this Hulk, can you take him out? And he's like, yeah, I can do that, but I'll kill you first. So he breaks out, works with these federal agency. Which federal agency it is, I don't know. They don't really say. So basically, he manipulates Weapon H to fight the Hulk first, which that was quite interesting. And then the end of issue 1, that's when the actual Wolverine shows up. Which, one thing at least I appreciate though with this miniseries, when Wolverine's in costume, he wears the Jim Lee costume, which this costume is better than the bullcrap costume they put him in the what he's wearing currently, the ugly brown and yellow costume. I really like the costume. I don't know about Andrew. I know he loves that costume, Wolverine. I like the Jim Lee costume or the John Cassidy costume. I love those two costumes. But the other one, don't really care for. So they fight, and of course, well, the reason why they're at underwear facility. Now, where the heck they got this place? It's presumed they probably paid for it via the $10 million that the Minotaur gave Clay and his family. Also, his mother-in-law is there because, yep. And I love it how basically that where Clay's kids, where they imitate both the Hulk and Wolverine, where his son's basically doing Snick, which is the sound effect that Wolverine makes whenever his claws pop out, and of course the daughter basically imitates the Hulk's roar, which so hilarious. And I appreciate these kids are not going to be annoying. They're going to be fun and interesting characters. And then eventually, of course, these three, and then about at the end of issue 2, one of the most weirdest things happen. Like, Bruce Banner spouts claws. Yeah, just like Weapon H does. And Wolverine gets gamma radiation powers, turned into a version of a Hulkverine. I'm like, okay, interesting. And eventually they fix it by the end of it, so Hulk is back to normal, gets rid of the stupid claws, and Wolverine himself basically gets the power from the gamma radiation. Still has his healing factor, and they also mention the fact, hey, aren't you supposed to be dead? And they're like, yeah, I have a healing factor, and a lot of people probably question, like, wait, was your healing factor taken away from you in the Paul Cornell run for Wolverine? Because I could have sworn it was, and apparently it's back. Yes, somehow, some way, being covered in adamantium apparently restored his healing factor. Somehow. I'm not really sure how in the world this was explained. Because, unless of course that one of the, because at one point this guy Wolverine was actually had one of the Infinity Stones. That probably caused him to get his healing factor. Because last time I checked, he lost the healing factor due to a virus. Yes, while trying to a virus in his body, he was stripped of his healing factor because apparently Marvel wanted to really kill off Wolverine, and they did it in 2014. Though he came back, though Charles Shaw was actually quite surprised of how long they kept him dead for, because according to him, when I met with him, I met him like a few years ago, I think it was a couple of years ago. He said they kept him dead for about 4 years, probably when the miniseries first came out. Well, when he was making it, so that's what he thought, 4 years. But in actuality, publication-wise, it's been like 3 years. So, eventually they do defeat, well, the leader, and, well, all his mind control stuff. And then, of course, miniseries ends, basically, Hulk and Wolverine go have a beer. Clay goes out with his family. And what about the leader and Dr. Abner? Well, they become a couple. Yep, the miniseries ends with basically making out, because even the leader probably thinks, hey, even though I got a big hair, I got a smoking hot woman with me, I'm going to make out with her right now because I really want to. And plus, he probably got a thing for her too. Great miniseries. Give this book roughly a 10 out of 10. It's just so freaking good. Believe it or not, Clay's next appearance is actually in the pages of War of the Realms, right after this miniseries wrapped up. Yep, it was War of the Realms, Strike Force, War Avengers. He popped up in that one shot. Then he appeared in issue 3, War of the Realms, and his last and most recent appearance, as of 2 years ago, was an Absolute Carnage Assault on Weapon Plus. And that's it for the character. Yep, he never appeared ever again. An absolute fantastic character, and yet Marvel doesn't want to use him anymore for reasons. Hulk himself basically is still been featured in his awesome Immortal Hulk debuting. Wolverine, prior to getting his ongoing series back, I think it was just last year, he was just popping around, like pop up in Kenny X-Men. Got some one-shots, got featured on Kong Presents, and appeared in a couple mini-series here and there, and then finally got his ongoing series by Ben Percy. Yep, but this was really good. Now moving on to another really good series that I think is probably Marvel's best books. Wolverine, Oh Man Logan. This is, of course, Volume 2, Bordertown, issues 5 through 8. Excuse me. Plus, it features a classic X-Men issue. Yes, issue of Uncanny X-Men, Volume 1, issue 205. What is this issue? It's Wolverine's first time meeting Lady Deathstrike. Because Lady Deathstrike basically is in the storyline. Yeah, it's only just a 4-part story arc of Wolverine in a town in Canada. Yes, in Canada. Where he protects the town from the Ravers. Yes, the Ravers. A group of mutant cyborgs. Who are usually a lot of the time led by Lady Deathstrike. Yep. Oh, and he basically kills one of them. Well, one who's on has the crawling tank legs, which really cool. Yeah, he kills him and he basically eliminates gives her all of them. Lady Deathstrike, he pretty much chops off her arms, though they're mechanical arms, so don't really worry about me showing any blood. Though she gets away, and of course during the course of the storyline, he actually runs a little girl whose name is Marlene, which is also the name of his late wife, which kind of means that this little girl is his future wife. But don't worry, when he first meets her, when he first marries her, she's much older, not a little kid. So at least that Jeff Lemire does not write Old Man Logan to be a pedophile, which I do appreciate that. Now the artwork is done by Andrea Sorrento, who, here's the thing about this artist. This artist also worked with Jeff Lemire on his awesome Green Arrow run. Yeah, she pretty much drew every issue for his entire run for Green Arrow, which was 18 issues, believe it or not. Yep, 18 issues. This one was 25 issues. And this is only the second trade that collects this run. Now, you're probably thinking, why did it take you so long to get second trade? Because that other series finished up first. And now back to this really good series. Yep. So, basically, Logan defeats Lady Deathstrike and Raver, saves his town. It's a fun mini arc. It's a fun short arc for what it is. It's a pretty thin trade. It's not even like $15.99. I got this online. Yep. But oddly enough, no other characters. There's some flash forwards to the future of Old Man Logan when he first meets his wife. There's nothing involving the original storyline in here. I don't think it's even mentioned, but this is actually just really good. And I give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. You're probably thinking, why would I give Hulkverines a 10 out of 10? I give this book a 9.5. It's good, but it's not as fun and engaging as Hulkverines. I thought that book was so good. This book is so good too. And I do plan to get the rest of the trades, plus Dead Man Logan, which features the guy's death, believe it or not. Yep. And like I mentioned before, when this series ended, I think it was just a couple years ago, I think it was. When this series ended in issue 50, it was by far the first series to reach that far in, I think it was about 5 years. 5 or 6 years. Because the last comic books to reach issue 50 that was not a relaunch, well, it was not relaunch number 1, and consider this book 50 issues of the series. The last two books to hit those two last books to hit 50 was Astonishing X-Men and Hulk Volume 2. Those two were the last known ones to do it. And recently, we've had books basically reach issue 50, though they've ended issue 50. Though the only book that's still going after issue 50 is Amazing Spider-Man, believe it or not. And as of currently, it's basically, as the most recent issue that came out, it is the same length as the second volume for the series. Yep. But in the case of my Logan and Hulkverines, they're both good. So, yeah, that's it for particular review. I would have time to do one more review, but I don't have time for it. I'll probably have to save it for tomorrow. And that one would be definitely the 2 Batman trades. Now, because of how late it's gotten, I was planning on doing a few anime reviews today, but because I was gone part of the day, and the fact I didn't have time when I got home to basically take care of those reviews. So, expect to see a lot of videos coming tomorrow for Dr. Stone, Quintessential Templates, Hiroshima Head Apprentice, maybe Fire Force, and Case Close. So, and of course the Comic Corner. So expect roughly about 6 videos tomorrow. Yes. Okay? See you next video. Bye.